I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It don't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, or religious beliefs may be. It don't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter if you are my enemies, family, or friends. I still greet you with the same universal greetings. Peace and the blessings of God be with you. You know, I come to the realization that I respect all religions. As long as you don't teach separatism, as long as you don't teach hatred, as long as you don't teach that a man or a woman here in the flesh is God, I respect that religion. Now, if you do, I have nothing against you, but then all I can just say is, I personally believe that there's nothing, nobody, no deity, or no thing worthy of worship nor praise but God. My Muslim brothers and sisters all around the world that's making that sacrifice for Ramadan, I like to say Ramadan Mubarak. I like to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. And I also like to say Awudu bilad himanas Satan nirajim Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I seek refuge with God from Satan, the rejected enemy, the accursed devil, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. You know, today is Monday, May the 20th, 2019, the time being about 8:05 p.m. I want to talk about where I started at 23 years ago on May the 3rd, 1996, coming from the land of Lincoln, Illinois, to the Show Me State, Charleston, Missouri. I'm going to show you something to me that's very unique. You know, when I first came on this soil in the state of Missouri, in the city of Charleston, let's over here for a minute until them cars. In the city of Charleston, I landed on the street with my grandmother, and that street was called Vine. That's V-I-N-E Street. This is Vine Street right here. If you look all the way down Vine, if you look all the way down, come over here. If you look all the way straight down, Vine in about 1200 something west. If you look down here, when you go all the way down to Main Street, which is the dividing line of east and west, Vine started 0 west to 12 something west. And I was living a few blocks away from here on Vine Street, on Vine and Boone, with my grandmother. And what's so unique about Vine, when I started here, I didn't like being here, but I got a lot of knowledge from my grandmother. May she rest in peace. Flora Ivy, who, when my grandfather died in 1965, she married Lewis Scott, so it's Flora Ivy Scott. I got knowledge from her. I got knowledge from her neighbor. May she rest in peace, Miss Snowball. Down the street on Vine, a little bit, not Vine, but Boone, a little bit more down, a couple of houses down, Miss Margaret Jefferson. Going on the other side of my grandmother was Miss Kathleen Morris. Then when you came on down Vine a little bit more, it was Mr. Hugh Rod. Then when I got in this area here, Mr. and Mrs. Horton. Then when I got where I'm at right now, Mother Alice Barnes. All of these people was elder people, and these people had wisdom, and they gave me wisdom. They took me around to other people that I met, like Pastor Charles Ivy and his wife, may he rest in peace. Bishop James Winfield and his wife, may they rest in peace. Mr. Laverne Frazier, Pastor Laverne Frazier, a good brother. And I met a lot of other people over on the other side of the water in Cairo. Mother Greer, may she rest in peace. Mother Williams, may she rest in peace. Mother Brown, I believe she's still alive. And I met a lot of other people, but what I'm trying to show y'all is these is people that the younger generation gave respect. These are people that when we was young or before we was born, their main concern was protecting us from being executed by the Ku Klux Klan, protecting us from being harmed, protecting our women from being raped, protecting our young men from being killed for looking at a white woman. But somewhere down the line, things done changed around. It's not the Ku Klux Klan that I worry about. It's in your own neighborhood. You see, sometimes individuals, they want to make a difference, but their way of making a difference is not the way that it was making a difference for our generation that kept us alive, some of the ones that I just named. You see, my parents, may my mother rest in peace, and thank God that I'm able to take care of my 91-year-old World War II veteran dad. They taught us a lot. You see, we lived in Cabrini Green, where it was classified as the most notorious housing projects in the country. But we survived. You know how we survived? We had village leaders. Excuse me. We had village leaders that was respected by the youngsters or the younger generations. And as I said before, when you had people that got out of line with some of the village leaders was able to take care of their own. You see, and not only that, if they couldn't handle it, it was some people in the village was going to make sure the village was safe. You see, today, I'm going to just speak about Charleston, but it's something to think about in this country, period. You know, especially here in Charleston, black leaders need to try to come together in some of this empty space that you have. Build a center. Build a large center for these young people where they don't have to just be walking up and down the street day and night. When the summer comes, when they're out of school, just walking up and down the street. Build a learning center. Some of you retired educators, why don't you teach somebody else how to educate? You see, I done did what I tried to do down here. I did as much as I can. I went off course sometime because I allowed individuals to push a button. You see, just because they pushed the button, I didn't have to act or react, but I did. But I'll just say this here. Now that I'm about to depart this town, This is a good town, but you got to select your leaders. This is a good town. You can't let people come when you got to look how nice and clean this area is. Look how peaceful it is. This how it should be in the black community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it can happen. You see, sometimes you got to dial 911. Sometimes you got to bear arms. You see what I'm saying? Back in the day, when the Klan used to come trying to burn crosses, our forefathers, they picked up their arms. If you're legal to carry them. But this is my point here. I'm about to leave. I started on one end of vine, and I'm ending on this end of vine. After I get these legal things out of the way, one of them is coming up real soon, and hopefully my name will be cleared. And I got a couple other things to clear, but I'm gonna leave and go somewhere else where I know people would accept the voice, would accept the education, would accept me leading them in a direction instead of just pointing them in a direction but leading the way. Maybe in a year or so or sooner, you all will be able to see a book, a movie, and a documentation. My life in Charleston, Missouri, for two decades and 3 years. Peace be still.